My childhood was atypical. I grew up in the country.
Hey, Tommy, come look at these bugs.
So me and my brother spent a lot of time going outside. And we were walking down this hill and we turned around and there was a baby deer. And the baby deer let us come up and like pet it. So in a lot of ways, it was like a magical childhood.
Common markers, take one.
It's always a lot to ask people to tell their story, and there's some things that you just don't want to relive. But I will share my story because what almost killed me also saved me.
Hi, Raina. My name is Dr. Wakeman. I'll be taking care of you.
Because if I hadn't have met Sarah, I don't think I ever would have stopped.
Hey, Raina, is that you? Grab me a beer.
I don't think that they would ever define themselves as alcoholics. But looking back, you know, my parents definitely were drinking. Their voice would change, their tone would change. And I would just want to get away from it because it was unpredictable. When I started going to school, I remember just feeling, you know, very out of place and very uncomfortable and not like other kids. That's when I started turning to substances. And I remember feeling more at peace and calm and not so uncomfortable. I started getting into a lot of trouble at home. I could hear them fighting about me downstairs. And I threw some in a backpack and hitchhiked down to Portland. You know, I came up with a lot of creative ways to come up with money. I would go up to the Portland Rose Garden and I would cut roses. And I would sit in front of this strip club, and the guys that were going in there, I would say, hey, for a few bucks, you can give the dancers a rose instead of money. I just always would have to leave before the dancers got out.
Hey, Rose Girl, money, not roses.
There was a lot of kids that were like hopping trains and going to different cities. So we hopped a train to go to Seattle. They all were talking about how they were gonna get heroin.
Separates from you and just float away from you.
And they were like, are you sure you don't wanna do it? And I was like, no. But when I saw my first friend do it, I was like, okay, I'll try it. This is what I've been after. This is the feeling I've wanted for so long. That feeling of being okay in my body. Your brain is just constantly like, this will make you feel better, this will make you feel better, this will make you feel better. And you can't stop thinking about it. After a while, you just do it to feel normal. There's this thing that a lot of people reference in the recovery world, that the opposite of addiction is connection. There was this study done where this guy took a bunch of rats, put them in a cage, isolated them, and gave them drugs. And they all became addicted. Then he built Rat Park, where there's things for rats to play with. There's places for rats to have sex and eat food and also drugs. But since there was all these other options now, they didn't become addicted to the point of killing themselves. I kept looking for Rat Park. When I look back, I was the queen of geographical cures. If I leave this town, I'm gonna feel better. If I don't hang around this person, I'm gonna feel better. If I have this job, I'm gonna feel better. But eventually, I would always start using again when I found myself on the streets in Boston. Years, it just feels like years just go by in an instant.
Are drugs and alcohol ruining your life?
Are your parents kicking you out of the house?
Help is a phone call away. Individuals receive personalized care in a safe and nurturing environment.
It's not your fault. You can stop the insanity.
88520-CURE and end your addiction now.
I was 17 the first time that I went to treatment. You go for 30 days, they give you a little piece of paper, you graduate, off you go. It didn't work for me.
No!
Eventually, I decided to try methadone. So it took me sometimes 2 hours one way to get there in the morning. And if you don't show up there by 10 o'clock, if you show up at 10 o'clock in 30 seconds, the door shuts in your face. Then you don't get your dose that day. Then you end up being sick, or you end up using to get through.
Opioids are now the biggest drug epidemic in American history.
Overdoses up, emergency services overwhelmed, another family
Suspected
buried.
heroin or opiate-related deaths in Massachusetts.
Almost 500,000 Americans have died from an overdose, and the majority of those involve opioids.
A lot of people were starting Suboxone. So I went to this doctor, and he sits you down and asks you all these questions.
And how many times have you tried?
What age did you start using? Have you ever shared needles? How many detoxes I had been to?
Just think of all the taxpayer dollars that have been spent on you, and you're still here.
I thought about driving up to the Tobin Bridge and hurling myself off. So I'm just waiting to feel better, and I get sicker. And that doctor told me, you must be allergic to Suboxone. See you later. At this point, I was so terrified to go to doctors, but I started to feel sick. That was the first time they told me I had endocarditis.
You have endocarditis.
It's a heart infection from using IV drugs. It's kind of like sepsis. It's an infection in your blood, but it ends up stopping in your heart. I said, what's the treatment for this?
You're going to have to be on antibiotics.
6 weeks of IV antibiotics, and there's only one place that we can send you. No other place will take you because of your addiction history. I saw a man in his bed picking up piles of his own and throwing it on walls. People are also selling drugs there. So it was a really scary place. When I got discharged from there, I think I felt just even more like damaged and broken. I'm just gonna continue to use until I die. After a couple months, I started to get those exact same symptoms. That's when I met Sarah.
Hi, Raina. My name is Dr. Wakeman. I'll be taking care of you. I was a brand new attending doctor. I remember her looking sick and scared and, mistrustful for good reason. I think an important thing that I tried to frame for Raina from the start is that I was going to be her doctor whether or not she continued to use substances, and that those things were not conditional. It'd be okay. She tried all these different treatments, and she had been made to feel like because there's something innately wrong with her, that she was never going to get well. The one time she'd had experience with buprenorphine, she'd been given it the wrong way and then told she had an allergy, which was not true, and kept her from accessing treatment for a long time. And the reality was that the treatment system had failed her like it fails so many people.
I remember just telling her, I will absolutely not go back to that facility. You can discharge me to the streets, but I am not going back to that facility. And Sarah backed me.
We worked really hard to push for her to go to just a garden variety skilled nursing facility. I think she jokingly called it an old folks' home.
And this is where I think the Rat Park comes into play, right? Felt like I had a lot of grandma and grandpas all of a sudden. People were really curious about my story and really welcoming. The other thing that Sarah really advocated for was for me to attend addiction treatment while I was in the medical facility. So that was the first time in a while that I had any significant amount of recovery. They had prom, and obviously I didn't get to go to prom. I had 2 prom dates, actually.
We know using substances is a tremendously powerful way to manage in times of stress and trauma. So how would making more bad things happen to a person who's already hurting help them get better or help their life get better? Usually it's the exact opposite effect. One of the greatest catalysts for change is hope.
When I talk to people about my addiction, a lot of people will say oh, well, you're just blaming it on the system. But the thing is I blamed it on myself for so long. Miles! Miles! Come on, Weston. You sure? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Put it on my rocket ship.
People out there don't want to be out there. They don't.
Hey,